One quick look at the Suzuki V Strom 650. This one is purpose built for adventure touring. It might have a lot of features like the Versys 650, but then you look at the bike, longer wheelbase, it shares the same ground clearance, the seat height is a little bit on the lower side, it's got good windscreen, handguards, space for enough luggage, and for two-up touring. This V-twin is one hoot of a motorcycle to be riding on the highway. So let me take the pleasure of introducing you to Mr. Rahul Singh, who's been riding this motorcycle for the last few years, clocked over 30,000 kilometers and ridden this motorcycle across India.
After almost a decade of riding on my classic 500, wherein I traveled Bhutan, Ladakh, Northeast, Run of Kutch, and clocking over 100,000 kilometers, we decided to upgrade. I usually ride two up with my wife. I decided we were looking for a perfect touring machine which enables us, to cover a lot of distances. Also, do a bit of off-roading, as the road offers. So I was looking for options like Versys, V Strom, Tiger, Africa Twin. After test riding most of these machines, I ended up with this baby for the sole reason that this fits my budget, around 11.5 lakh, which is what I would like to spend on a new bike. Africa Twin and Tiger obviously are way expensive. So this machine offers me a lot of good comfort. I mean, I've done 800 kilometers in a day, 1,000 kilometers in a day. This machine offers amazing comfort. I mean, that's something which I can vouch for. That's not only the rider, the pillion as well. Amazing riding comfort, amazing pillion comfort. Gives a lot of options to mount luggage. A decent power. So from someone coming from classic 500 to a V-twin, has got a lot of torque, has got a lot of power, got a lot of cruising speed. So these are the factors that resulted in selecting this particular machine. So after spending almost 30,000 kilometers on this bike, riding across India, and I've owned it for over 2 years now, I would say, the performance factor, I'm really happy with this bike in terms of the power that it provides, the cruising speed. I could cruise at 120 to 130 all day without sweating. The speed gives us more mile munching capability. I could cover, in my previous bike I could hardly cover distances in a given day, but with this bike I could easily cover, with two-up riding, easily cover more than 1,000 kilometers a day. And that's something which I really like about this bike. In terms of the power and torque, yeah, the torque is it kicks in at a very low revs, which gives you the ability to navigate through bad roads and to cruise at a very decent speeds. I have not ridden it too fast. I mean, my maximum top speed I've covered is 160 at given time on certain highways, controlled highways. But the perfect cruising speed is around 120 to 130, which I could do all day long. It also gives a good range in terms of the tank capacity. It gives me a mileage of around 26 on highways, and with a tank capacity of 20 liters, I could easily cover 400 kilometers without brake. And that's what we've been doing, and that's how we cover a lot of distances. I rode it to Himachal last year, and last year I went to Arunachal all the way from Bangalore, and the amount of the stress, the strain the body takes is very, very less. I ride one day for 600, 800 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers, and the next day I'm ready for another stretch of similar distances. This bike offers a decent amount of features, electronics, not comparable to the higher range bikes, but it has 3 levels of traction control, which is pretty decent and very effective, I would say. 2 channels of ABS. I would love to have a switchable ABS, but unfortunately it doesn't offer that. Nevertheless, it has got decent amount of braking bite as well. Not one of the best, but it has sufficient amount of braking. I had it couple of emergency brakings as well, and it did its job. The traction control, I have used it in slush in various regions. It just kept the bike on the same line, and enabled me to cross various obstacles that we had. One of the reasons I picked up this bike was the comfort that it offers. When I test rode, the moment I sat on this bike, I realized I could flat feet. I am 5 feet 10 inches, and I could hold both feet down with 835 mm of height. So that's really it's confidence inspiring. I can hold this bike in traffic, in slow moving traffic. The suspension bit is where I think Suzuki could have done a lot better. It has a pretty decent, I would say not decent, but just enough suspension travel. The forks are not adjustable, so this is where Versus has a upper edge where you get USD forks with fully adjustable suspensions. This one you can't do anything, and it's on the softer side. That when you load it up, it really affects the the handling in terms of bashing the ground, the obstacles, the speed humps that we have in Bangalore or anywhere in India. That's one of the biggest drawbacks of this bike. Ground clearance at 170 mm with the long wheelbase, you keep knocking most of the speed breakers while riding, and which is very annoying. The suspension, the rear suspension is adjustable for preload. It does its job, and it's at the higher setting, even at the 2 up, it's very aligned. The bike is pretty streamlined in terms of the handling. The narrow, the V-twin configuration basically puts the weight very well distributed in the frame, and wherein I could see the difference in while handling. It's not top heavy, or rather front heavy, so the weight is well distributed in the frame, and it's got a very strong chassis as well, wherein I think Suzuki has done a lot of work. Let's talk about the protection on this bike. I've got bark busters. I think that's the first accessory that I got on the bike. Really important, and it helped me in a couple of falls. I got the JV bash plate as well, all from Bikenbiker. I walked into the Bikenbiker store, and I was told the first thing I need to buy is bark buster. This was my first experience with a big bike, and they really helped me to decide upon what is the starting point of accessorizing the bike. Bark busters, number one. I got the JV bash plate. One good thing about the JV bash plate is it doesn't reduce the ground clearance much. If you see other options in the market, they usually eat up a little bit of the ground clearance, and that, since I'm riding 2 up, it affects, again, I keep bashing, I would need that extra bit of ground clearance on this bike, and that is what JV offers. Apart from that, I've got the stock crash guards. That's pretty simple. In one of the rides, I had a minor fall and I broke the stock foot pegs, and I had to do with a Himalayan foot peg. I had to get it made, and I got it fixed. Though I finished the ride, I came back. The first thing I did was I was looking for an option for foot pegs. So I ran into this Motor Ren company, and then they offered me a decent, not decent, a very good product. I would say, the foot pegs, which at a very reasonable price. So that's one thing which I've upgraded on this bike. Let's talk about the luggage a bit. Since I ride 2 up, and you're carrying a lot of luggage for over a 20-day trip, I require a lot of space. The first thing I bought was a top case. Now this top case, I'm so impressed with this. It's just always lying on my bike. I never take it off. Even the city rides, short rides, this is my go-to solution for luggage. This is JV Trekker 52 liters top case. The good thing about this is it doesn't affect the handling much. While at a decent cruising speed of 120, 130, it doesn't create any wobbling effect or anything from riding perspective. Also, it has got enough space, enough and more space to carry all my luggage, which usually is some medical stuff or some electronics, laptops and stuff. I chose the Jivi, the side bags, for the sole reason that this is soft bag first, and they offer a decent amount of space. This hard case usually restricts you with the amount of space that it offers. Here I can stuff in a lot of stuff in my bag, and the weight is also not limited to I can carry in a lot of luggage for my 20-day, 25-day long trips. It also doesn't affect the handling per se. It even at a high speed, and the dimension of this bike remains confined, and it doesn't affect much of the handling. For my camera gear, I got this GV tank bag. This is an expandable one. I think this is 15 liters, and you can expand it to 25 liters, and all my camera gear goes into that. Again, I would say this is really good product, which I really prefer or suggest people to buy this if they're carrying a camera bag. I would show from inside. It has a dedicated camera bag with enough paddings to protect your camera gear. As we started riding more, during trips you end up buying some certain stuff, and for that you need more space. So after riding after going on a couple of rides, we realized that we need some more space, and there is a limitation of weight capacity at the back, right? If you load it up at the rear, your bike starts wobbling a bit at certain speed. It does happen to me at 70-75 kilometers. At that speed, it starts wobbling a bit. I thought it's because of tires, but I changed the tire again. I ended up carrying around 12 to 13 kgs on the top case at times, and that affects the handling. So I had to distribute my weight. So I picked up these crash guard bags, and I stuff all the heavy stuff, like all my maintenance stuff, bike maintenance stuff, toolkits and everything goes in these pouches, and it distributes the weight pretty amazingly. All these products, the GV bags, tank bag, and the top case are just amazing. I'm so happy with it, especially the bags. It has taken a lot of beating, in places, in rain. I've ridden continuously for 4-5 days in rain, and not a single drop of water seeped in. The same goes with the top case. It also provides a lot of comfort for the pillion, as it has a backrest, and you're pretty much stationed on the bike, and the comfort level that it offers is really amazing, and that's not what I suggest. Let's talk about the maintenance bit. Since this is a Japanese bike, and one of the reason I picked up a Jap is the maintenance is pretty affordable. I have ridden it around close to 30,000 kilometers, and I've got mostly I've changed the brake pads, the whole system twice. Initially it lasted for 18,000 kilometers, the front brake and the rear brake, but then after my extensive rides I had to change it once. The maintenance bit is pretty cheap, I would say, in terms of owning a big bike. It ends up, a regular service cost around 5,500-6,000 rupees for an oil change, air filter change, and regular servicing. Parts are also at a price reasonably well. I've gone for the stock brake pads for this while. There are options available, aftermarket options available, but I'm still sticking to the stock ones. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the experience on the maintenance. As I mean, this bike is a bulletproof bike. There's nothing can go wrong with in terms of the engine or anything. Regular maintenance, every 6,500 kilometers, oil change is what is required, and it just runs. Apart from that, I don't see any challenges in terms of parts availability. Pretty much everything is available. The ownership experience with this bike for almost 30,000 kilometers and over 2 years, I would thank Bikenbiker, for providing all the necessary information, accessory, and support during my journey with this bike. I really thank them for for clarifying and taking time and patience to clarify all my doubts on each and every selections that I've made. That's very important, you know, in terms of when you're owning a new bike, a big bike, getting into that you know, area. You know, you need a very informed, you know, support and decision making. You know, that helps in terms of selecting the right accessories, the right luggage system for the bike or kind of biking you do. So I really thank Bikenbiker for this opportunity to share my ownership experience of V Strom, and I'm really looking forward to the new bike, Suzuki 800, Vstrom 800 that is supposed to be launched in mid-year. I'm looking forward to see what it offers. Thanks a lot. Cheers.